My name is Bill Delahunt. I'm the Democratic co-chair of the Cuba Working Group, and I'm pleased to be here with my colleagues and friends from the Cuban American community to discuss the Freedom to Travel to Cuba Act, H.R. 874. The American government allows American citizens to travel to North Korea, Iran, China, Vietnam, Uzbekistan, where it's alleged in the Department of State Human Rights Report that people are boiled alive by the tyrant of Tashkent. But it denies American citizens the fundamental human right to travel freely to Cuba. This bill would restore that right to all Americans without exceptions. In a way, this bill is not about our Cuba policy, but it's about changing the policy of the government as it relates to American citizens. Now, President Obama can relax travel restrictions imposed on Cuban Americans by executive order, as he promised during the campaign, and we anticipate that he will do that shortly. But allowing ordinary Americans, all Americans, to travel to Cuba requires congressional action. And by the way, it should be noted that in a recent poll, 2/3 of the Cuban American community favored ending travel restrictions for all Americans, not just Cuban Americans. So today we're here to announce that the bill has over 120 co-sponsors, and we expect that number to grow significantly. Now I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, the Republican lead on the Cuba Working Group, Jeff Flake of Arizona.
Thank you, Bill. I just want to commend Bill and everybody here seated for working on this issue for so long. And we have a new member, Jason Chaffetz, who is from Utah, a freshman Republican who's joined the cause here. It's great to be here. Clearly, momentum is building. Clearly, we're going to succeed this time. We've been able to pass this legislation twice, I believe, or 3 times. Twice, I know, when we passed identical language in the Senate. It was then taken out in the conference before it was sent to the President. I can't think of many good things about having a Democratic president, but this may be one. We will likely have a bill signed to allow Americans the freedom to travel to Cuba. And Bill touched on it. This is a sanction not on Cubans, but on Americans. This is telling Americans that they can't travel there. And our government is better than that. We're a better people than that, than to tell Americans where they can and can't travel. So I'm pleased to be with this great group and the Cuban Americans who work so hard. And I'm told we're going to be speaking to some people here soon that will be an interesting discussion. But thank you all for coming here. Thank you to the groups here who have pushed so hard for this and have spent so much time and effort. It really would not be at this point without you. So thank you for all you've done.
Yeah, I want to echo that, extend my gratitude to my colleagues, Jim McGovern and Joanne, Rosa DeLauro, Sam Farr, and Jason Chaffetz. This is a good group. This is a bipartisan group that should be noted. We're going to go now to our friends from the community. But before we do that, we have a special guest whose name is Miriam Leve. She is a friend of ours, a dear friend of ours. And she comes to us by phone from Havana. She's an independent librarian and a journalist, and one of the founders of the Ladies in White. For those who don't know, the Damas de Blanco are the wives, mothers, and sisters of Cuban political prisoners who demonstrate every Sunday in support of their relatives. Her husband, an economist and another dear friend of ours, Oscar Espinoza Chepe, was one of the 75 dissidents arrested in the Black Spring of 2003. He was later released, and we're grateful for that, due to poor health. Miriam, are you on the line? Eric is going to do it. Okay. Eric, you're in check.
I'm quick. Get the right copy code?
No?
I do.
I wonder if this is being monitored.
Which is not authorized. Please call Rock.
We'll get it done.
Let me try it one more time. I talked to her earlier. Doesn't look promising. That's her statement.
I made a comment to one of my colleagues. I wonder if this conversation is being overheard somewhere. Probably in Washington, England.
Miriam? Buenas tardes. Hello? We're calling from Washington.
One moment, please. One moment.
Thank you.
Yes, one moment.
We are ready anytime.
Yes, hello.
Miriam, we have Congressman Bill Delahunt here and a room full of anxious journalists to hear from you.
Hi, Miriam. How are you? It's Bill.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity.
It's Bill Delahunt, and I'm here with a bunch of colleagues and friends of yours, and we are waiting on your words. We also want to convey our warmest regards and best wishes to Oscar.
Thank you very much.
So if you would proceed, and I know you have a statement prepared, we await your words. So go ahead.
Okay. We fully support lifting all restrictions on Americans to travel to Cuba. It would contribute to better knowing and understanding the realities in our country. Even by a simple conversation, sharing everyday experiences, Americans would be demonstrating how your society is capable of constantly deepening and improving democracy and could help our own efforts for democracy. Restrictions from the United States, particularly the embargo, have been used by the Cuban government as an excuse to justify the totalitarian regime and repression. Those policies have proven ineffective and counterproductive. Although in Cuba no significant changes have been put in place by Raúl Castro's administration, for the first time in 50 years, the possibility exists to open a pathway to changes. The alleged willingness of the Cuban president to improve relations with the United States must be encouraged. It is a contradiction that the United States is the fourth largest Cuban trading partner, but Americans and Cuban Americans are deprived of their right to assist the Cuban people by building bridges. We believe that contacts between Americans and Cubans from all walks of life and American tourism are of the utmost importance. This is my feeling, and also Oscar Espinoza Chepe, which, as you know, my husband is an independent economist and journalist, and also a prisoner of conscience of the 75 sentence on March 2003, and right now he's on conditional release because of his serious health problems. Thank you.